Hello, ladies, and welcome to Her Business Coffee Talk. If you're ready to scale your business globally, but your English might be holding you back, you are in the right place. My name is Nina, and I will be your host today, and I'm so excited to introduce my guest, Marija Jović. Marija, welcome to Coffee Talk.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Tell us a little bit about you and about your business.
Okay, so my name is Marija Jović. The name of my business is Rajo, and I am a creative director for personal brands. Yeah, this is more or less just, I started as a copywriter, but I transitioned into something else. So, yeah.
And before copywriting, you used to teach
Yeah, I
languages?
used to teach. I spent 8 years teaching business, English, and Spanish, individual lessons, group lessons. I really loved this experience. Yeah.
So, what was the turning point that made you move from teaching to copywriting and entrepreneurship?
Um, well, honestly, I don't have many complaints about my previous job. I really loved it. It was because I worked with corporate clients from all over the world, and honestly, I learned a lot about different businesses, different industries. But I always felt this pull, this need to do something of my own. And many years ago, I think almost 9 years ago, I participated in a program, an Erasmus program. It was like Erasmus for young entrepreneurs. And I went to Tenerife, Spain. This was my first time working with an entrepreneur. And this was my first time experiencing work in marketing and copywriting. This is when I fell in love with it. And I always felt this pull to start something of my own that was related to copywriting. So last year I decided to start, and yeah, here I am.
And can you repeat once again how you introduce yourself to your clients now? You're not
Creative
just.
director, creative director for personal brands.
Sounds interesting. And like 2025 is all about personal brand, all about being authentic, and everybody wants to do it, but nobody, I mean, nobody, like not many of us know how to do it. So maybe you can tell us how your process looks like. For example, if I contact you as a potential client, what would be your first questions and how the process would look like?
It's very, very personalized because um, I really honestly think that everybody has something special to offer. And I think everybody is good at something. And the first thing for me about personal brands is that it has to be authentic. Personal brand for me is not the same as any other brand. With a personal brand, like you have an amazing personal brand, you're really good at your positioning, at how you present yourself to your audience. I think you have a very warmed up community. I think you have a really good connection with your community, so you do a good job with that. But yeah, it's about being authentic. But everybody says be authentic. What does that mean? It's more difficult than people think. And with my clients, I always start with during the discovery call. I always focus on like um, figuring out what they have that maybe separates them from the rest of their industry. And I always look for some like contradictions. I don't know, someone who is introverted but funny at the same time, and like this humor comes out unexpectedly, and we can use that in their industry, and it's something unexpected for the industry, for instance. So yeah, I always focus on something special that they have that they can offer that differentiates them from the market.
Mhm. First, thank you so much for everything you said. I mean, I didn't even know that I was building a personal brand. Somehow it just happened. I mean, of course, there was a lot of work and a lot of effort, but I have never worked with someone who does what you do. And you know that I was interested in your service and I wanted to schedule my call, but the baby never
Yeah.
allows me to do that. So let's have like a short simulation and show our listeners how we would start and help them to start thinking about branding and positioning, which is really number one nowadays.
Okay, for someone like you who is already established, I would ask you first what your plans are for the future. Because if, for instance, if you came to me and you're unsure of where you're going or you're unsure about your positioning, I would ask you like, okay, where do you want to be that's different from where you are now, for instance? So what would you tell me in that case?
That's such a difficult question. I mean, I have my plans for, let's say, for next 5 and 10 years. But for example, now I'm transitioning and changing our target group for English Coffee Talk. And we decided to start working, actually start talking to business women, both like in corporations and entrepreneurs. So now we are in this part where men are angry. Why are you talking only to women? We are still transitioning. But I would say Coffee Talk will be place number one for women who need English to scale their business globally and start working with international clients.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. I think, yeah, I saw that you already started, and I think this is a really good idea. I think um, you're one step ahead. You probably felt like this was the way to go, and it is the way to go. I can tell you that. Um, and for you, as I said, you already have a really good personal brand. You have storytelling skills that are next level. You have this natural knack for connecting with people, telling stories that paint a picture. So I would ask you if there's anything, any characteristic of yours or anything that you would like to make more visible. Is there something more to Nina that people are not seeing that you think would be useful for people to see for this new phase of your brand?
Mhm. Okay. And now let's say that it's not me, it's someone who is just
Yeah.
starting that part of branding and positioning. And you know that women usually don't know what to show, and there is a lot of overthinking. What is too much? Should I be vulnerable or too honest? Or what if this is too personal? I don't want to overshare it. So, do you maybe have some advice for this part?
Yeah, yeah. I think it very much depends on the person. I think you cannot copy and paste one approach from one person, from one personal brand to another. It comes down to um, I like to refer to brand archetypes. Um, I think every person has at least one brand archetype, a primary, maybe even a secondary, and it depends on that. I don't want to get into the details of brand archetypes. If someone is interested, they can Google it if they want to learn more. But basically, these archetypes they determine like the personality of your brand. You have brands that are mostly funny, so like they connect to their audience through humor. You have brands that are more like poetic, more artistic, more vulnerable. They connect to their audience through this. You have brands that are more like they need to establish authority. They're more elegant, they have an elevated vibe in that sense. So it depends on this, and this is something that I determine with my clients during the discovery call. I can pretty early on see what their brand personality is, like at its core, and how they can embody that. So how much you share, how much you use storytelling, and in what way you use storytelling, it comes down to your brand personality. This is what I would say in short.
Here we come to the part related to copy. Is there anything you could share with us, like some kind of simple advice how to write good copy?
Okay, so the first thing I learned when I started working in copywriting was that copywriting is not the same as like academic writing, as writing an essay, as writing um, a script for a webinar or something like that. Copywriting should be very very similar to how you speak in your in daily life, in your personal life. So if you and you use very complicated expressions, expert like expressions, then yes, okay, your copy should sound like that. But if you don't speak like that in real life, then it shouldn't. You should use expressions that are too complicated, because copy is supposed to connect you with your audience. copy is supposed to be easy for your audience to understand. You don't have to. I think many female entrepreneurs, they fall into this trap of trying to impress people, show them like how much they know. So they use complicated and advanced expressions for their specific field. And this is wrong because it can be boring, it can be too complicated for people to follow. So keep it simple. Just like I always say, and I think many other of my colleagues say the same thing. It sounds simple, but it's a bit more complicated than it sounds. But it actually comes down to this. Imagine you're speaking to a friend, your best friend. How would you explain this topic to your best friend over coffee? This is like the number one tip.
Mm. Yeah. Usually experts try to use the expert language, and regular people just don't get it. We cannot use those fancy words if we want normal person to understand us, because people don't want to use their brain too much. Like, they don't want to overthink it. They're on social media. They just want to relax and see if there's something interesting. So I totally understand why you say it as you do. And I have to say, from my experience, the best results came from the really, really simple copy.
Exactly. Yeah, like when the audience immediately feels like what you're trying to say, what your point is. I think nowadays we're getting into a phase where people feel immediately when when you're trying to manipulate them, or when you're trying to tell a story just to in the end sell something. So I think really being honest and authentic, and just like when you're selling, sell. When you're telling a story to connect, tell a story to connect. I wouldn't always mix those two. It's also another trap that I think people fall into, and the audience, they're catching on to that. And if you have an emotionally intelligent audience, that most of us nowadays do, you don't want to insult them by trying to manipulate them.
And now let's talk a little bit about your business. Did you find any challenges last year? How did you start? What did you change? And where are you now?
Okay, so I started exactly a year ago. And I would say the biggest challenge is doing it with a toddler. My daughter is right now 3.5. When I started, she was 2.5, and it's not that, she's not a baby, but she requires a lot of attention, and she doesn't respect boundaries. She doesn't understand when I tell her that I'm in a meeting, and so it has been difficult. But I would say that this is the only aspect where I felt difficulty. The rest of the stuff, there have been hurdles, but I've been enjoying it and really embracing every part of the process. And I would tell this to any woman that's trying to build a business for herself. Really take everything as a lesson. Every failure, bigger, smaller, it's a lesson. Just like pick yourself up and continue, because if you really put in the effort, the result is inevitable. It's inevitable if you persist. This is what I would say. Yeah.
I just wanted to ask you about that part, balancing private life with your business, toddler, and like, many women are afraid of that. Like, when you think about it, how can I have my business, like, develop it, work on it, work in it, and still raise a child? So, what helps you do that easier?
Well, first of all, I have a supportive community around me. I have my husband, I have my family, and anytime like my daughter Selena would get sick, or it would get a little bit too difficult, someone would jump in and help me with her. So I have to say that I'm very grateful for that. But when it comes to like on a daily level, balancing work and spending time with your child, I think boundaries are really important. Like setting boundaries for yourself. For instance, if the nature of your work is that you can work like from anywhere, anytime, you can work at 3 in the morning. Really like organize your time. The fact that you can work from during the night doesn't mean that you should work during the night. Like I tried a few times to sit until 4 a.m. and then my daughter wakes up at 7 a.m. and I'm like running the whole day on 3 hours of sleep. It's crazy. It's not sustainable in the long run. So like set work hours for yourself. If your kid goes to kindergarten, to school, these are the hours you need to take advantage of to work and to be productive. So setting boundaries to your clients as well, but most importantly to yourself.
That's something we forget.
Do you?
I don't. I mean, I'm still working on it. I have to admit, because my baby is only 1 year old, and like no plan, no schedule. I'm really working on that, but he's just too active and doesn't sleep well, and I never know when he will sleep and when we will have to go out or just play. So. Like my life is pretty messy at the moment, I have to admit, but it's getting better. Now it's much better than, let's say, 2 months ago. So I totally agree. Like this is what I need to do. Okay, maybe I'm going to work from 9 to 11 or from 12 until 2 when he's usually sleeping. If not, then I will adapt. And maybe from 5 to 7 when my husband gets back from work. And that's it. No late night work. And then what you said, like no sleep at all. It's really depressing.
Yeah, it's exactly. But it gets better. He's only 1 year old, and it gets better. I mean, it gets worse also, but it gets better at the same time. Yeah.
I see what you mean. For all the girls who don't have babies yet, please, everything is great. Don't be afraid. You can make it.
Yeah, you can do
Yeah,
it.
yeah, it's difficult, but with good organization and good plan and boundaries that you mentioned, which is really, really important, I think that you can do it. It's just you have to remind yourself all the time that you're not a superwoman and you don't have to be just like a regular woman who also needs some time for herself and to rest just a little bit at least.
Yeah, yeah. And also delegate. I would mention delegating. Um, Not everyone is able to do that in the beginning, but once you get to that stage where you can delegate as much as you can, especially the stuff that exhausts you. For instance, for me, like anything that has to do with creativity, I love it. I don't want to delegate it. This is my field. But the other stuff that has to do like with structure, with repetitive tasks, I this exhausts me, and I could spend like 2 hours working on something that someone else could do in 5 minutes. So learn like where your strengths lie and where those strengths aren't. This is the part you should delegate.
I couldn't agree more. And our final topic, languages. Usually, like all the ladies who listen to our podcast have some issues with English, especially speaking, conversation. They have that fear that they will make a mistake and so on. And you are fluent at English, Spanish, and Serbian. So,
Yeah.
can you tell us a bit more about your experience and what would be your advice for a person who is afraid to speak because of making mistakes?
Um, the first thing about someone who is afraid and insecure, I completely get it. Like I've taught, I think over 500 students in my career as a English and Spanish trainer. I would say that you're overthinking it much more than the other person is thinking about how you're speaking. This is number one thing. Number two, the fact that you're speaking another language that's not your mother tongue and you're speaking it with an accent or whatever, it just shows that you're speaking more than one language, maybe even three, maybe even four. So this is an amazing thing. This is something that we in our region take for granted. I don't think like people all over the world are able to speak languages so easily and to learn them so quickly as we here are. And the third thing is that this is something that I would always say to my students is exposure. Just like expose yourself to English through classes, through regular classes. Consistency is key. Outside of classes, watch movies, series, Netflix, documentaries, whatever you like, watch it with subtitles. Don't watch anything dubbed with subtitles. This is a passive way of learning English, and it's really, really important. And the third thing is like get out there, find ways to like make friends in foreign countries. You have the internet. So, but it comes down to just exposure to the language. If you can go and travel and be somewhere where the language is spoken, perfect. But if not, use the internet, use TV, use classes, anything that you can take put your you know hands on.
At Copy Talk, we really try to do that, to create that environment where people can speak English at a safe zone for speaking English. And in my experience, what gives the best results is like uh, micro steps, like speaking just a little bit every day, or watching a video one day, listening to a podcast, just to be surrounded by English and allowing your brain to adapt to that language. And then, of course, as you said, like you have to speak to activate everything that you learned.
Yeah, exactly.
um, the last question for today, if you could give one piece of advice to your younger self just starting out, what would you say?
Okay, to take more, even more risks, and to really to listen to your gut. Yeah, it's a cliche advice, I know, but it really is something that I would say to my younger self, and yeah, to take even more risks. Um, I think that I took some risks, but I think I maybe missed out on some opportunities for fear of, maybe what other people would say or what I should do, to fit in some roles. And I think this wasn't necessary. Yeah, but okay, I still have time.
I still don't always listen to my gut, even though I told myself so many times, start doing it every time. When you don't do it, bad things happen. And I don't know, I always have that like bad influence, I don't know why I'm looking for that confirmation from like environment or whatever, even though I'm pretty confident and pretty capable of making my own decisions, but still something is holding me back. So I love your advice, even though you said maybe we heard it so many times, but still we don't use it.
Yeah, we heard it so many times, but I think maybe we need to figure out some more specific tips on like how to listen to your intuition, how to like decipher what is your gut and what is your fear or your wish or what is someone else's voice. So maybe like training yourself to decipher that. And
Uh,
yeah,
get to know yourself better and learn
are you
about your
there? Yeah.
patterns. Yeah.
Can you say that again? I wasn't able to hear you for a second.
Yeah, I just mentioned like what could be good. Learn about yourself, get to know yourself better, and learn about your patterns. Maybe like that, you can see when it's your God, when it's your fear, when it's just like some other person's opinion.
Yeah, learning from experience. Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Maria, thank you so much for this business coffee talk. Ladies, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. Don't be shy. Come say hi on Instagram, Her Business Coffee Talk, where we can help you grow your business and boost your English speaking skills. Until the next episode, let's coffee talk.